Hello, darlings, and welcome back to my channel. It is about that time again for another episode of Scent Talk, where I discuss my weekly fragrances, how they performed, and overall if I'm going to keep them in my collection. So without further ado, let's get into a long-awaited another episode of Scent Talk. Okay, darlings, I am back and I am in front of the camera as promised. And I want to thank all of you, darlings, for your kind words, support, all of those wonderful comments. Despite a few of them, there was, a little bit too extra. We're not going to talk about anything negative. We're going to just definitely focus on the positive things. I really do miss you guys, and I have not been in front of the camera for over 4 months, so it does feel a little bit strange. And as I did my introduction, I should be reintroducing myself to myself. I have been gone for so long, it feels so weird to be back in front of the camera. I will say, before I get into this episode of Scent Talk, I have justifiable reasoning as to where I've been, okay? I have been through so much stuff and drama in the past 4 months, I could write a book. We need to get right into this episode of Scent Talk. And this episode is almost like when I did my Narciso collection. You guys, I am doing 5 days of Dolce. So what that means is that 5 days was for the week because I wore each and every last one of them each day of the week, Monday through Friday, so I could give you guys my impression on this collection. So I do have the whole collection in front of me, which I am going to start with Dolce, and this is the original. This was released in 2014, and you guys, this is described as a floral musky aquatic scent. It's really, really sharp in the beginning, and that is coming from the neroli. I know we are getting ready to get into fall. This can be worn as a fall scent, but it's mainly for spring. I would say spring and fall, because when you get into the summer weather with this perfume, the neroli is a little bit too strong. Neroli is sharp. It makes the perfume sharp to my nose. It makes it sharp. Give her a spritz. Yes, it's definitely floral. It's a really, really pretty everyday type of scent. I picked this one up a little while ago. I would say probably, well, almost a year ago, I believe. She is like a fresh everyday type of scent. She does turn a little bit soapy, just a little bit, but it's still a gorgeous perfume. And I would say this lasts about 6 hours with about 4 sprays. Guys, I wouldn't do over 4 sprays with this one because of that neroli. Neroli, again, is just sharp floral, but what really, really stands out to me in this one is definitely the aquatics of it. So it's fresh, aquatic, and floral. This perfume is the reason why I wanted to try the collection. The collection wasn't that big. It only consists of 5 perfumes. So I said I can handle 5. So I went ahead and I did pick up the whole collection. This is the eau de parfum as well. I didn't receive any compliments with this one, but that's okay because for the most part, I do kind of work by myself. So sometimes I don't get around a lot of people unless it's at the beginning of the shift or towards the end of the shift. So, but this one is a really, really pretty floral aquatic. And I do like aquatic fragrances for the fall because that's when the weather starts changing here in Ohio. Just a wisp of breeze from this perfume and it carries. Very, very gorgeous scent. And again, this is Dolce. And this next one that they released is Dolce Floral Drops. This is the Eau de Toilette version of the original. And I will compare the bottles from the original and from the Floral Drops. The original is more clear. Floral Drops is a frosted glass. Now, as far as the scent, I will say this is almost identical to the original, except for you have that green apple note. It makes it a little bit more fruity. It still has the same note as the original Dolce, but this one has that green apple that does stand out when you first spray this. But I will say that apple note fades away and you are left with the same scent as the original. With that being said, I don't know if this one will be worth it to buy because it's the same thing, except for in the beginning you have that green apple note. Now with longevity for this one, I only get about 2 hours out of this spray. It is an eau de toilette, but you guys, sometimes eau de toilettes are just as strong and potent as eau de parfums. But in the case with this Dolce Floral Drops, it does not last as long. So I don't know if it will be worth spending your coins on this one. I will only say to get this one instead of the original if the original is a little bit too sharp with that neroli. This does have neroli in it too, but the neroli is kind of played down just a little bit. But once this dries down on your skin, I say after about 20 minutes, it literally smells the same, but it just doesn't last as long. Remember, the original is a longer lasting perfume and this one is the least lasting perfume, but it does have that green apple note, but the green apple does not stick around. So Dolce did not outdo themselves with this one, okay? Because it's literally almost the same scent besides that green apple note. So do your due diligence when you're looking into wanting to possibly purchase this. It is still a very pretty scent, but no lasting power. But again, this is Dolce Floral Drops Eau de Toilette. Okay, and the next release, this is the Dolce Rosa Excelsa. Guys, this one is a very pretty bottle. It's frosted glass. And what I have found from this collection, all the ones that are frosted glass, they are eau de toilette. So you know this one is an eau de toilette. So to get into what this smells like. Okay, so what you get out of this one is also very similar to the other two. You guys, the only difference with this Rosa Excelsa is that it has rose in it. It gives it just a little bit more depth than the other two. So these three perfumes that they came out with, they're all similar, okay? You can only distinguish them by a very, very tiny bit, but to my nose, I pick up the same thing, except for the difference is the rose. Now, as far as how this dries down, just with a little bit more depth, and I do believe that's coming from the sandalwood. Now, as far as me with sandalwood, I'm not a heavy fan of sandalwood. It does make it last just a little bit longer than the floral drops, but it's not as long lasting as the original Dolce. I think it's because of that rose, because the rose is delicate and pretty in this one, which does kind of make it just a little bit different, but I will say it does last a little bit longer than floral drops. I do like rosy scents as long as the rose is kind of delicate. I don't like when the rose is prominent, and the rose is not that prominent in this, but it is enough to distinguish it from the other two. But they're still very similar. With these three, you guys, there's not too much of a difference, so you don't need all three. And I will pick this Dolce Rosa Excelsa, especially if you do like a delicate rose. Very, very pretty scent. Not as long lasting. I would say about 4 hours out of this one with about 6 sprays. And again, this is a Dolce Rosa Excelsa Eau de Toilette. Okay, and this next one is Dolce Garden. You guys, this one was just released last year in 2018. And now I did end up picking this one up about 4 months ago. I wanted to actually get the collection since the collection is not that big. It's only 5 perfumes in the Dolce collection. So you guys, I do have the rollerball of this, and I'll tell you, I have had so many mixed emotions when it comes to Dolce Garden. When I first tried this, I bought it in a rollerball. I thought I liked it, but then once I actually wore it for the day, I didn't really like how the coconut was mixing. It just seemed like something was off in this perfume. I did try this in the spring. You guys, it started warming up a tad bit. It started getting really warm. I sprayed this and I fell in love with this. My scent palette is totally changing on me. The florals dry down really pretty in this, but the coconut helps keep this perfume grounded. Now I absolutely love this. So I decided to pick up the full size bottle, and you guys, I have been wearing this, okay, since it warmed up. But I will say, once it got over 85 degrees, I had to put her down. That coconut became too sticky. It was too sweet and sticky for it to be really, really hot. This to me is a nice transitional perfume. So going from summer to fall, this is perfect for that. And actually going from spring to summer. That transitional phase is where I found this perfume to be gorgeous, okay? And this one is definitely different from all the other 3 that we just talked about. This is when they started to change the Dolce line. They made it more gourmand, more coconut, almond, and also vanilla is what they added in this. And you guys, if you're a vanilla lover, I could see you liking this. But if you're more of just a floral lover, this probably would not appeal to you. I would say when I first tried this, I was more into gourmand fragrances as opposed to floral. When I first tried it, I liked it and I bought the rollerball. Then when I started wearing the rollerball, I was like, I don't like this. But then I tried it again and she was a hit. So I've been through so many stages when it comes to this garden. Oh, you guys, by the way, all of these are full size bottles. They're all the 2.5 75 ml ounce bottles, and this one is eau de parfum, and this lasts all day. This lasts for 8 hours. 4 sprays, 8 hours. This is the heaviest one out of the whole group with the longest lasting power. So again, this is Dolce Garden. So glad that I did end up picking this up because I do actually like this now. This really lets you know how your palette can change, and this dries down so pretty. I do really like this one now. And again, this is Dolce Garden. Okay, so last but not least, we do have Dolce Peony. I just picked this one up about 3 months ago, you guys, and I've worn it several times. And I did talk about this before in Scent Talk. At that particular time, I didn't think that I would want a full-size bottle of this because I said it didn't last. But you guys, as soon as the weather changed and I tried that sample and I said, okay, I think I'm going to go ahead and get this one. And this one, you guys, is very different than the others. So these 2 perfumes in this collection is very different. These could actually be their own pillar. Instead of these being like flankers, I would not classify these as flankers because they are so different than the original. And to me, flankers are similar to the original. They have the same characteristics, but just maybe a tad bit difference. But when you're talking about a whole nother different scent, that to me is not what I would classify as a flanker, but it is a flanker, but it's not a flanker, if that makes sense. But I would tell you, this definitely changed, okay? When it warmed up, this transformed. But I will say, it didn't transform for me in a good way. This was almost like a scrubber. And it was almost like a scent that I would throw out the window, but not saying that in too much of a bad way, like it's just a nasty scent, because I don't believe there is a such thing as a nasty scent, but there are scents that just don't appeal to you. And this one, you guys, when I poured this when it warmed up, this just totally changed on me. Okay? And I will say it changed for the worse. It became masculine to me. It dried down masculine. But when you first spray it, it is a pretty clean floral scent. It has pink pepper, so pepper does come out in this. You guys, I really didn't pick up the masculinity of this perfume in the sample. Maybe because I didn't spray enough when it came to the sample. The pink pepper in this mixed with the bergamot, you guys, it turned masculine. And I have noticed my perfumes that has bergamot that is a more prominent note, it smells masculine. The bergamot in my Tory Burch Belle Azure, that turned masculine on me. As far as the new Nicki Minaj Queen, bergamot being the prominent note in that, it turned masculine on me. I don't think I can really handle bergamot in the summertime, you guys. It smells too masculine, and this was no exception to that. It dried down masculine to me. So this went from being a clean, pretty, fresh type of scent to a masculine scent that does not appeal to me. But I would still say try this if you like bergamot. When I first spray this, you guys, I'm definitely picking up pink pepper and that Mirabella plum. The plum is really prominent. As far as the floral, it smells like a fresh floral though. The floral on this is really fresh at first. The Mirabella plum and the pink pepper is what I really pick up in this. But you guys, after this starts to dry down, she turns masculine. Okay, so this is like a plummy, citrusy type of scent. The bergamot and the plum and the pink pepper mixed together, it's too much for me. It changed to masculine for me. And it does have patchouli. I really don't pick up the patchouli in this. Patchouli gives it just a little bit of an earthy scent to it. But to me, I didn't really pick up any patchouli in this, which it does list it as having patchouli. And it also kind of smells old. Like it gets off a little bit of an old scent. So I don't know where Dolce & Gabbana was going with this one. It's definitely different, but this could be like its own pillar fragrance. When I first tried the sample, I really liked it, but I said it was weak, but it was still kind of cold outside. But honey, and the heat, this definitely changed. The original Dolce is by far my favorite out of the whole collection. So this comes in at number 1. This is a floral, musky, aquatic type of scent. Very fresh, very floral and aquatic and musky. Very pretty. So this comes in at number 1. And this does have some good lasting power. And again, this does come in at number 1, Dolce. And this Dolce Garden comes in at number 2 for me. This is really like a floral, fruity, a little bit fruity gourmand type of scent with vanilla, coconut, almond. Very nice. I do believe it does have neroli in it too, because it is just a little bit sharp. But this one comes in at number 2. Great lasting power. I do like this one now. And this is Garden. And I would have to say this is Dolce Rosic Salsa. This is the Eau de Toilette. This one comes in at number 3. A delicate rose scent, but very similar to the original. The rose and sandalwood kind of changes this one. And this one comes in at number 3. And this Dolce Floral Drops comes in at number 4. Again, this is an Eau de Toilette. Does not have really no good lasting power. And I also forgot to say that this one kind of reminds me of She by Alfred Sung. That's very similar to this. So if you have Alfred Sung, then you guys, you definitely won't need this one. This comes in as 4th, and this is Floral Drops. And this Dolce Garden comes in last for me in number 5. And this is Peony. This one definitely is in last place for me. This is my least favorite out of the whole collection. This Peony and also this Floral Drops are 2 that I may be putting in a declutter because it doesn't make sense to hold on to them if I know I'm not going to wear them. I won't keep this for a backup because I do have the Rosic Salsa as almost a backup to the original. So these 2 I probably will be getting rid of. So I guess we're just going to have to get rid of the 4 and 5. But that does conclude my collection of Dolce. I've reviewed all 5 of them in one video in this episode of Scent Talk. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And also, if you've tried Dolce Peony, give me your thoughts on that one, because that one was, to me, was my least favorite. But if you do like it, what about it do you like? Do you think that Dolce Garden and Dolce Peony should be flankers? They are nothing alike, but that's just my 2 cents on these perfumes. But I definitely want to hear how you guys feel about these perfumes. And again, I thank you so much for watching, and I can't wait to see you in my next video.